Hello friends, welcome back to my channel on statistics. Before we will give you brief introduction about data science. Now here onwards we are coming to the pure subject, that is statistics. What is the use of statistics in data science with coding examples also in R software and Python. First we will do some videos on basics of statistics, then we move to the softwares. Okay. Now first we will see introduction to statistics for data science. Statistics is a huge subset, but when you are coming to the data science, we don't need that all statistics concepts and every derivation, remember, when you are doing data science course, you just need to remember the formulation, how the data formulating, then which measure is suitable for this type of data. These three are important. Remaining calculation, everything done from softwares. Okay. See now, this is the just introduction to statistics. In the introduction to statistics, when if you are new students to the statistics, then you need to know these five concepts clearly, otherwise it is unable to understand later on topics. See, first we will see types of statistics. In types of statistics, we have descriptive statistics and inferential statistics. These two are plays a vital role in statistics. Okay. Then in descriptive and inferential statistics, you need to know what is the population versus sample, then what is parameter and what is statistic, then qualitative, what is qualitative data and qualitative variables or data, then level of measurements, which type of data, nominal data, either ordinal, interval or ratio data. Okay. Now we will see this video about descriptive and inferential. This is very important. What is the descriptive, what is the inferential? As in, see, there are two types of statistics. These are descriptive statistics and inferential statistics. When you understand the examples, then only you can understand what is descriptive, what is inferential. Otherwise, you can to understand the logics. See, in general, descriptive statistics means aims to describe raw data using summary of statistics, graphs, and tables. In descriptive statistics, you will find summary of statistics, graphs, and tables. Means when you are doing descriptive statistics, means for example, you have n equal to 50 observations. For example, you have 50 observations, right? For example, you have 50 observations having patient details. Okay. For example, you have, okay, marks of different students. Okay. We have 50 students, 50 students having different marks. So by seeing data, you cannot say anything. You can just say n is 50. For understanding the data set, first you will find a descriptive statistics. When you will find a descriptive statistics, then you will get the some mean value, okay, some standard deviation or some range. When you find the mean value, then you can easily say the average of student marks. Then you can, when you find the range, this is the highest value, this is the lowest value. When you find the standard deviation, we can say this much variation present in the marks of student. For these all things, you can represent from graphical representation also, tabulation also, table representation also we can do. We can see one example clearly also. Descriptive statistics are useful because they allow to understand a group of data much more quickly and easily compared to the just starting at a row of raw data. See, this is the use of descriptive statistics. For example, there is also an example. Suppose we have a set of raw data that shows the test score of 1,000 students at a particular school. We have 1,000 students, n equal to 1,000. So when we see the n value, this is large value, we can do by take sampling also, we can test. But nowadays softwares also, you can just give the command, you can get the mean value, so we don't need to worry. Okay. See now, this is what are the common forms of descriptive statistics. Descriptive statistics contain mainly three parts, that is summary of statistics, part type 1, 2 is graphical representation, type 3 is tabulation. When you understand these three, then descriptive statistics is very easy. In the summary of statistics, mainly we have central tendency. Central tendency or average, these all are same names. Central tendency means a single value which describes the central part of the distribution. Means, for example, when you find the mean value of the one data set, we can say that this mean value, they say that the total data set, not only the single value. Okay, that mean value depend upon total data set and median also. mean is the ideal measure for central tendency. For measures of dispersion, standard deviation is the ideal measure for measures of dispersion. But when you go for non-parametric data, in non-parametric tests, mean is not ideal measure. That time median is the ideal measure. In measures of description, range is the ideal measure during non-parametric. But in parametric, mean is the ideal measure. Then in dispersion, standard deviation is the ideal measure. Graphs, there are different types of graphs available: box plot, histogram, stream leaf plot, scatter plot, pie chart. We can use different. For tabulation, we can use, generally we use frequency tables. Okay. Now you see one example related to the descriptive statistics. The following example is same example, 1000 students. Now we will see how we can do. Now first we will do the summary of statistics. In the summary of statistics, you will find mean value, median value, maximum, minimum, standard deviation, range, everything you can find. See, from the mean value, we says that 82.13. What that value actually tells? Out of general exams, 100 marks. Okay. From 100 marks, 82.13. What is 82 point actually tells me is, from this tells us the average test score among the all 1000 students is 82.13, means 82.13 is the average score of the 1000 students. If when you see the median means middlemost value after arranging the data. When you see the example from mean, median, mode, these three should be interrelated, means some minor changes only. Okay. Now you go for dispersion, maximum is 100 and minimum is 45. You can, by using the range formula, you can find this. Here range is 55. Okay, maximum minus minimum. Now when you go for graphical, the visualize the distribution of test scores. We can create a histogram, a type of chart. Use the rectangular bars to represent the frequencies. Here I use histogram. You can use based on the data. We can apply different statistical diagrams. See here, less than 50, we have this much students only. 50 to 55, this much. 55 to 60. When you observe, this data is not normal. When the data is not normal, this is rejectable. But this is not hypothetical data, so we cannot say this is normal or not normal. Okay. Now see, when you see the tables, from the tables you can find this just like histogram. You can find how much percentage of value. Percentage also we can find. You can find values also. How many people are there in this range, in this class interval, we can say. Okay. Now we are till now we discussed the descriptive statistics. If you have any query in descriptive statistics, you can comment us. Okay. Now we are discussing inferential statistics. Means inferential statistics, as a name suggests, it is conclusion, something you need to conclude at the end. In descriptive also, you need to tell something, but you can just identify. In descriptive statistics, you can identify, but in inferential statistics, you can get the clear-cut value idea about the data set. In a general, inferential statistics use a small sample of data to draw an inference about the larger population that the sample came from. Means, for example, you have, this is our population. We don't know how much values are there. Okay, n number of population may be finite or infinite. Okay, we draw just some parts of sample here. We can test by either by one sample test, either we can use by two samples also. We can draw two samples also. Okay, based on our objective motives. Okay, then we do some testing on this sample only. Okay, if that sample is acceptable under statistical controls, then we can say that this is total population also acceptable. Like that, we can say inferential statistics. For example, we might be interested in understanding the political preference of millions of people in a country. However, it will take too long and too expensive to actual survey every individual in the country. Thus, we would restrict to a smaller survey of say 1000 Americans and use the result of the survey to draw the inference about the population as a whole. But it is in politics, it is very difficult, but it is somewhat possible. In America, for testing which political party won in the election, it is very difficult, but we are just saying 1000 values, then we are saying it is possibility. We are just predicting only. one more thing, statistics true on average only. Okay, it is not true every time, it is not false every time, it is just to give you assumptions, sorry, forecasting value only. Okay, it will be made true, it may be not be true. The importance of representative sample is very important during the inferential statistics. When you are drawing samples, it should be identical. Okay, see, the ideally we want to sample to take like a mini version of the population. So if you want to draw inference on a population of students proposed of 50% girls and 50% of boys, your sample would be not representative if it include 90% of boys. This is the, you can easy to understand when you read this line, you can easy to understand. Okay, what is the importance of sampling. This is, there are different methods available in the literature for doing sampling: simple random sampling, systematic random, cluster, stratified, based on our researcher motive. Okay, sample size should be large. When sample size increases, our data should be as much efficient. Okay? There are mainly three parts included in hypothesis in statistical inference. One is hypothesis testing. Hypothesis testing plays a vital role for every topic. Okay, hypothesis is nothing but just assumption only. Okay, now you see the confidence interval. When you see the confidence interval, or this is comes under the estimation techniques, we are estimating something, but that actual value may be false sometimes. But when you find the confidence interval of that estimate, we can say that that estimate lies between 5 to 10. Okay, this is the use of confidence interval. You can find the range of that estimate by using the confidence interval. In regression also plays a vital role in the inferential statistics. We all know regression is used for relationship between two variables, one dependent and more than one independent variables. Okay, there are a lot of GDP example, you can take time series examples, you can take any example for regression analysis. The main difference between inferential and descriptive statistics present here: descriptive statistics use summary statistics, graphs and tables to describe a data set. This is useful for helping us gain a quick and easy understanding of a data set without pursuing over all individual data values. But in inferential statistics, use sample to draw inference about larger population depending on the questions you want to answer about the population. See, this is the main differences. In inferential statistics, we have population, then we draw samples, then we can conclude what is going on. But in descriptive statistics, we can just give the quick overview idea about the total data set. Okay, from the next we will see that what will happen in parameter versus statistics and population versus sample. Then we will see qualitative versus quantitative variables, then level of measurements. After this is just introduction. After introduction, we will get interesting topics. These are that testing, then we move to the estimation, regression, ANOVA, everything we will do. Okay, thank you. If you have any comment, you can comment.